My name is Novick. I'm Naomi's daughter, and I'm here visiting. This is one of my two dogs, Maid. Some of you may remember that my other dog, Kalila, performed last summer, almost exactly a year ago. So we're back now, and you get to see a new show. The title of this routine is Maid Goes to the Circus Audition. Good. I'm sorry, Maid. I know how much you like to play hide and go seek in the morning, but we don't have time today. Today's our big day. We're going to the circus audition. Let's get our suitcase. Okay. You silly girl. I didn't say get in the suitcase. You're too heavy for me. Wait while I stow our props, and then we'll get going. Okay, pack your bag. Oh. Go. There you go, good girl. Get the other ones. Yeah, I'm watching. Good job. Get the last one. Get that one. Yeah, good job. You got your paw stuck. Uh-oh. Look at that one. Yes, that was good. That was super good. All right, you ready? All right, Tolly, we're off. Good. All right. Hang on while I unpack, and then we'll show off our stuff. All right. Let's see. There we go. This. Right here. All right, come over here. Let's start with a handstand. Good. All right. All right, we ready? All right, Prince. Oh, come here. You got yourself stuck. Come here. Yeah, good job. All right. Now it's time for the Daredevil horseback riding trick, the special way that only you can do it. You ready? Come over here. Ready? There we go. All right. All right, come here. Maid. Okay. Good. Good job. All right, and now it's time for our snake trick. Right. Line up. Stay. Okay, slither. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good. All right. Now for our last circus trick. Okay, sorry. Oh, probably when I picked her up. Okay. Oh, let me move. I guess let's move this. So I do tricks with my dogs, but most of the time what we do for fun is to compete in agility. And so I have 2 videos to show you what an agility competition looks like. So the first video is with Maid. This is from the semifinals from a big national competition pre-COVID. Was it 2000? Does it say on here the date? I think it's 2019, but I don't see the date on it. No. Yeah, maybe it was maybe October 2019. I think is this video. So we made it to the semi-final round for the Grand Prix event, and she actually completed the class completely perfectly, but she wasn't fast enough to go on to the finals. So if you want to play this. So that was a course that has all the different agility obstacles in it. The next video that I'm going to show you is my young dog. Oh, so I should say Maid is 8.5 years old, so I guess she was kind of 5 when in the video that you saw her. 6. She would have been 6. The second video is my young dog, Kalila, who will be 3 in a couple of weeks. And this video is from the competition we were at just this past weekend. So this was from just a couple of days ago. And this is what's called a jumpers course. So it has mostly all jumps. It also has those weave poles, and it has a tunnel in it, but it doesn't have all the other obstacles. She's faster than Maid, even faster than Maid was even at the same age. So this is what I like to do for fun. And at this point, I'm going to just throw it open to questions about tricks and agility and dog training and anything dog related. Yes?
Are there different categories by age so that a younger dog is competing against young dogs and an older dog?
Oh, at the competition?
Yes.
No, it's a, the breakdown is by jump height, so by the size of the dog. So smaller dogs jump a lower height, like 8 inches. Bigger dogs jump taller jumps, so she was both of my dogs in those videos were jumping 20-inch jumps. So the jump bar is 20 inches off the ground. The tallest jump height is 24 inches. They have different levels, like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you have to get enough qualifying runs, or basically you run the whole course without any mistakes, and you need enough qualifying runs at the beginner level to move up to the intermediate level, and then enough qualifying runs at the intermediate level to move up to advanced. So the younger dogs tend to be in the lower level classes, but not necessarily, because you could move up really quickly.
What is the younger dog's name?
Kalila.
Kalila, and she's really fast.
Yeah, she's really fast.
How did that compare with other at that particular meet?
So there are a number of dogs that are faster than her. So she probably came in like maybe 6th or 7th place out of maybe 60 dogs in that class. She will get faster probably as our teamwork gets better, and I know what she's going to do and she knows what I'm going to do, and we're running more in sync. Then she'll be faster. So she should be competitive, or at least that was the hope when I got her.
When you're training, how do you get them to know what to do? I mean, if you're just standing there, the weaving seems like
Yeah, the weave poles usually, so you know they're straight in line, right? But when you start out, you make them not straight in line. You make a little channel so that they can basically just run through it, and then you can gradually, so you start out, you know, the channel is this wide. They can easily run through the 12 poles, and if you gradually move the poles in, you make the channel narrower and narrower. They get used to the feeling of the poles rubbing against their sides, and they learn the motion, and eventually you just close up the poles so that there's no space between them and they're straight in line. And it's just a process, but you have to wait until they're at least a year old, maybe 14, 15 months before you close up the weave poles.
Why Border Collies?
Why Border Collies? Yeah, so, you know, dogs of all different breeds compete in agility. Literally every single breed and mixed breeds. My first agility dog was a mixed breed dog that I got from animal control. I like the size of Border Collies. I like that they're really, really smart. So it's easy to, relatively speaking, easy to train them to do all sorts of tricks, and I think that's fun. And they're also competitive for, so in agility, the goal is to run through the course clean, without, you know, the judge sets a path, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, etc., up to 18 or 20, and you want to get through without making any mistakes. And as long as you get through the course clean, no mistakes, and you do so within whatever the specified course time is, so that's specified that your dog has to run at least, I don't know what it is, 3.5 yards per second, let's say. As long as your dog makes it through the course clean in that amount of time, you earn a qualifying ribbon, and you can move up in levels, and you can earn your championship. They also give placement ribbons 1st through 4th. And in order to get placement ribbons, then your dog not only has to get through the course within that set amount of time, which is not too difficult. They also have to be, the fastest because it's a race. So Border Collies are competitive for being, first, second, third, fourth, because they tend to be fast. They're also bred to work. They need a job. And so Kalila's, Maid is maybe or maybe not a purebred Border Collie. I got her from a rescue, so she may not be 100% Border Collie. Kalila is 100% Border Collie. She's a working dog. She needs a job. And Kalila, the one in the second video who performed for you last year, doing agility with me is her job. And she sees that as her job. We go to the line, she tunes out everything else and is laser focused on me and what's her job with me. So that's why. But I mean, I just like them, and other, there are other competitive dogs too, and that other people prefer other breeds and they get them. So it's mostly a preference.
Sure. So
Yeah.
how old was she when you started working on this?
On the agility or on the tricks?
On the agility.
On the agility, I started kind of foundation work, not the obstacles, but kind of the beginning skills that you need when she was a couple months old. Didn't start any real obstacles until she was, I don't know, maybe 8 months or something like that. But then not all of them. Some of them, like the weave poles, you have to wait until the growth plates in their bones have closed. And then that's younger for smaller dogs and older for larger dogs, but it's about a year. And when you start jumps, you start the jumps really low, and then you eventually work your way up to 16 inches or 20 inches or whatever your dog has to jump. Yes?
Where's the training there at home, or do you go to a kennel or?
Yeah, so most people go to a training facility. So there's a facility that's maybe 40 minutes from where I live, a really nice indoor facility with turf, with all the equipment, and a really good trainer rents the arena and gives lessons there. She also gives lessons in her backyard that's farther away and gets canceled whenever the weather's bad. One of my good friends has a house on 2 acres of land, and she has a backyard full of agility equipment. So sometimes we train on our own there, but I train every week, with somebody who's a real expert, and I go to this facility to do that.
How often do you have to do it to maintain?
It's typical that people are taking lessons once a week, and maybe doing some training, at home a couple other days, and that's sufficient. Maid was actually off for a whole year because she got injured. So last year when I came, she wasn't competing because she was injured, and she wasn't even doing these kinds of tricks because she couldn't even do that. And then we started gradually getting back into agility. She had been off for, I think, 11 months, and she picked it right back up. I mean, she'd been doing it for several years, and our timing was off because we hadn't been working together for, almost a whole year. But she remembered how to do everything.
Yeah. It didn't seem like it was
Well, in the competitions,
Oh,
when I started doing agility again with her, I mean, not the trick stuff, but when I started doing agility after she had been off of agility for a whole year, she remembered how to do everything, but in order for it to be really smooth and fluid and fast, I have to tell her, I have to give her information soon enough about, we're going over this obstacle, and we're going this way, and then we're turning, and then we're turning back again, or whatever the path is. And she needs information at the appropriate time to do that smoothly. And my ability to give that information at the appropriate time was a little bit off because we hadn't been practicing for a year. But basically, she just came right back to it.
You were on.
Yeah, so I was off. There you go.
You give this information more tactfully or both?
Yeah, so good question. Dogs pay the most attention to your movement. So if you're moving this way, your dog is going to move that way with you. So it's a really big deal if you can send your dog to go one way while you turn around and go the other way and have them complete that obstacle over there and then come back to you. That's really hard because the strongest cue for them is which way you're moving. The second strongest cue is which way your body is pointing. So if my feet are pointing this way, she's going to go this way. And if I wanted her to go over there, but I pointed my feet this way, she would go this way, go the wrong way if she was supposed to go there. So they pay attention to your motion and then what way your body, your feet and your chest are pointing. And the last thing they pay attention to is what you say. And if you say the wrong name of an obstacle, so you said, I don't know, teeter, and you really wanted them to go through the tunnel, and you got confused because it's really fast and they both started with T. So if you wanted them to, I forget which way I said it now, if you wanted them to go over the teeter and you said tunnel, if your motion and your body were pointing at the teeter, even if you said tunnel, they'd go take the teeter. Okay? So getting your dog to pay attention to what you say is a lot harder. They're not verbal creatures. We are, but they aren't. So the person who asked me why Border Collies, another reason why Border Collies, part of they're really smart, it's much easier to teach them verbal cues, teach them words, than to teach other breeds of dogs words, which can be helpful on the agility course to tell them, you're going over this jump and you're wrapping really tightly to the right or really tightly to the left. I taught my dogs left and right. So that's an easier thing to do with a Border Collie than with various other breeds. So that was another reason. But yeah, our motion and how our bodies is pointing is mostly what they pay attention to. Yes, you, and then you.
Is this mostly competitions, or do you do it for entertainment also, like at ball games, or do you do any of that?
The agility is really mostly competition. I know it's been set up occasionally at state fairs for entertainment for the people coming to the fair, and they've hired a trainer to come and bring some equipment and bribe some students to come play with their dogs. The shows at ball games are usually, they could be tricks. Usually they're the frisbee catching dogs, and those are people who are basically making a living performing at, halftime at basketball games and football games and things like that. I mean, to bring all the equipment in order to do that at a game, it would be really tough. So that's why it's not done. Yeah.
Having given us all this information, can we see your agility course again so
Sure.
we can watch for what you just talked about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, were you talking to her that time, all that time too? You were. Because your body really was telling her.
I said weave, I said tunnel, I said teeter.
Yeah.
Kalila knows more words than Maytal does. It's a newer handling style, and I have a different trainer now than I had when I was mostly training Maytal. But I probably didn't say very many words on this course. I told her tunnel, tunnel. I told her tunnel again. I told her weave. I told her go right. So that course is pretty straightforward. There are more complicated courses. I didn't give Lindsay one of those videos. And the more complicated the course is, the more the words can help you. So this course, both of those two courses, I think that I showed, the dogs were always going over the front side of the jump. So, if that's the jump bar and Maytal's coming from the direction where she is, she would go over the front, right? Straight, the way that would make the most sense. But there's also courses where she's there, but she actually has to take this course, take this jump going this way. So she's got to come from where she is, go back around to the back side of the jump, and then come back and jump this way.
And so what would your words be then?
My word in that case is push.
Okay.
So if I had the jump here, my body would point out that way. I would tell her push, and she would go around to the other side. But that was it was a less technical course. So on that course, all the jumps are going to be taken from the front side. They're not allowed on that particular kind of course that I showed you. The judge is not allowed to have the dog go around to the back. But there are other courses that are more technical where the dogs have to do that. So the more technical the course is, the more helpful it can be to have your dog trained to understand certain words so that you're not relying just on your body position. I started doing agility in 2012. I started learning in 2012 with my first agility dog, who then started competing in 2013. So then she was born in October of 2013. So I've been doing it since summer of, I guess, 10 years. I think I took my first agility class in June of 2012. Yeah, the second.
Well, she had her hand up first.
Oh, okay, go ahead then.
Okay, how hard was it to get her to go through that paper?
Oh, for the hoop?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started, I actually taught it with newspaper, which is more difficult, but cheaper, because I already had the newspaper subscription. But I started, I taped the newspaper on the top, but then I cut strips, so she could, could just walk through it and see through it. And when she could do that, then I had a solid piece of newspaper, but I cut out a circle in the middle. And then I gradually made the circle in the middle smaller and smaller and smaller until I got rid of it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes?
So you have two dogs, and they obviously enjoyed it. Do you take them both to the agility course, and if so, do they get antsy when the other dog is doing the thing?
Yeah, well, so at a competition, the dog, where we have our dogs in crates, and so where the crates are is usually where I normally compete. The place for the crates is generally far enough away from the ring, so the dog knows, oh, my sister's being taken out and not me, but can't actually see it. But when I take class, then the dogs are right on top of the ring, and yeah, they're not happy when they're stuck in the crate and sister has a turn, and they both bark when it's the other one's turn. And all my friends who have two dogs in class, it's the same thing. Whichever dog is not having a turn in class is yapping away in frustration because mom is playing with somebody else and not with me.
When you're working with them, how do you deal with that?
I just ignore it.
Just ignore it.
I mean, you know, sometimes you can try to get a friend to, you know, feed the dog cookies to help keep it quiet, but most of the time, we just ignore it. You just learn to tune it out because it's really hard to stop it.
Probably not worth the work.
Yeah, well, it requires somebody else to
To do it.
help, and somebody else is, you know, doing something with their own dog. So mostly we just ignore it, and it usually gets a little bit better. It's worse when the dogs are really young, and then they, at least a little bit, I think they get used to it, that they get a turn, somebody else gets a turn, and eventually they get another turn. So it generally gets a little better. Not always. Yes?
Can you explain the meaning of the name?
Of the dog?
Yes.
Yeah, Meital is a modern Israeli girl's name. It means drops of dew, and I named her that because of all of her spots.
Can you remind me what you used that blanket for? I'm trying to, I can remember everything else, but I can't remember.
Oh,
what
she crawled under the blanket when the alarm rang,
Oh, okay. Okay.
playing hide and seek.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean, so the AKC has a set of trick titles. There's a novice, intermediate, advanced, performer, and elite performer, and they're different criteria for what you need to do to earn each of those titles, and the tricks get harder, and up at the top level you need a story. So this is more or less her elite performer routine. I changed it up a little bit. So mostly this is, so you can come up with your elite performer routine either by thinking of a routine and then teaching the 10 tricks. You have to have 10 tricks. So then teaching the 10 tricks that work for that routine, or you say, okay, here are 10 tricks my dog knows that are difficult enough to qualify, and then how do I think of a story that weaves all of those tricks together so I don't have to teach anymore. So I did the second approach. So we're going to the circus audition because she doesn't have 10 tricks that are something that a dog might perform at a circus routine, but she can, get up in the morning and climb into the suitcase and, do things that are relevant to my story as long as I pick the right title for my story. Yeah.
Is there a story about why you got interested in this, or what?
In agility?
Yeah, in the story of the dog, yeah.
So the dog I started agility with, so 10 years ago, was a really, no, actually I first tried agility with the dog before that, who was a really high energy dog, and I was taking a basic obedience class, and my instructor said, you might want to try agility, I think she'd be good at it, and we tried, and had some issues that would not have been difficult to work through, knowing what I know now, but at the time, I was a single parent of a 7-year-old, and it just was too much. So I never pursued, we took one class, and then had difficulties with it, and I didn't pursue it. But after that dog died, and I got the next dog, at which point my child was away at college. So I said, oh, yeah, I tried that agility, and it seemed like it would be fun. So let me do it now that I have time. It just seemed like it would be a fun thing to do, to teach my dog how to do these. It looks really incredible that, oh my gosh, how do you get your dog to do all of this? I thought, oh, that'd be really fun. And it is.
Do you ever get tired of it?
I don't, but, for me, it's my, my respite from work, all the stresses of work, and this is my way of dealing with the stresses of work. I get to go run around and play with my dog. If I were teaching it full time, I don't know, maybe that would then be my work stress, but it relieves my stress at this point.
You ever get fed up with it?
I have not gotten fed up with it.
You probably aren't, no. If your dog doesn't respond.
So, certainly, I can imagine, there's certainly people who are in agility for a while and then they quit, right? And it could be that they just lose interest. It could be that they had too much trouble teaching their dog, so it was the amount of work to get their dog to do whatever it is versus the fun of doing it, you know, the balance was going the wrong way. You know, I actually teach a beginning agility class with a friend at the Nashville Dog Club, and we get lots of people who take the class and then never continue, and they say, oh, this is not really what I want to do with my dog, or this is not really something that my dog enjoys, right? I mean, some dogs take to it and some not. Some people get out of it because they get injured, or the dog gets injured. So, you know, I may stop doing it at some point, but at this point I'm figuring I'm doing it for as long as I'm able to. You know, I find it really fun.
What's the most common dog in the group?
In the taller jump heights, the most common dog is a Border Collie. At the smaller jump heights, the most common dog is a Shetland Sheepdog. It's like a miniature collie, miniature lassie. But you really do see all different breeds of dogs and mixes, mutts.
My friend here had mastiffs.
I have seen Mastiffs running agility. It is not the breed that I would choose. But, I mean, so some people are doing agility with their dog because they really like whatever breed of dog they have. So it might be a Mastiff or whatever, right? They might say, this is the breed of dog I really like. I have a friend who does agility with Bernese Mountain Dogs. Right? And that's the dog she likes. She does all sorts of sports with her Bernese Mountain Dogs, including she does agility. So there are some people who are doing agility because it's something to do with their dog and it's fun without any interest necessarily in being competitive. They're just having fun. And there are other people who are doing only agility and not other kinds of dog sports. And then those people tend to have Border Collies or Shelties or they're beginning to be a lot of sport mixes. So a mix of Papillons are actually really fast, really good small dogs. And there are people now who are breeding Border Collies to Papillons to get a somewhat smaller dog than the Border Collie, but bigger than the Papillon, and really super fast. And people breeding Border Collies and Whippets and Border Collie to Jack Russell Terrier just to try to get really fast, competitive agility dogs.
That's what I was going to ask about Whippets. Are
Yeah.
they trainable and
Oh,
really
yeah.
fast? Certainly.
Yeah, I know somebody in the Nashville area who competes with Whippets. Yeah, they're very
We've
fast.
had a Whippet for 13 years, but he didn't do anything except run and sleep.
Well, yeah, I mean, so, you know, some dogs are easier to train. So the working breeds are easier to
Well,
train.
we didn't try. I think that
Right.
was-
But the working breeds are easier to train to do agility. The sight hounds, like Whippets, Rhodesian Ridgebacks, I have a friend who competes with them. You know, they're much harder to teach, because the things that would easily motivate a Border Collie or Sheltie to do something for you, the Whippet or the Ridgeback just doesn't care about those things. So you have to be a better, smarter trainer, I think, to train those. But yeah, the Whippets are really fast. don't know that they're faster than the Border Collies.
So you don't have to worry about that.
Well, I mean, I like to be competitive. I like for my dog to, get a placement within, but still I'm mostly doing it to have fun with my dog. And, if my dog does a good job, then we have fun together, then that's great, I'm not trying to earn a living. Well, I mean, you can't earn a living doing agility. You could earn a living teaching agility. There's no money in competing. We're all doing this just for fun.
She looks like she could sleep for a long time.
Yeah, she's, after she's worked, she takes a nap. But I also told her that she needs to stay on that mat until I release her. So she is not going to get up until I release her, which I'm not going to do until we're done.
How did you tell her that?
I told her park it. And park it means go to your mat. So at the end of her performance, I told her park it, and she went, which you may or may not have heard, but I told her park it, and she went and ran to the mat. I gave her a treat, and she's been lying there ever since, because that was one of the very early tricks that I trained. So she does that while I eat dinner, and she doesn't harass me at the table.
Well, that's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Do it with a 2-year-old.
Playpen sounds like a good idea.
Well, I'm past that anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, you might have grandkids.
She keeps an eye on you though. Kind of, I mean, she moves her head every now and then, looks, make sure you're still there.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I wouldn't trust her to stay if I actually left the room. I've not trained that. All right, well, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.